Okay, today I have the pleasure of interviewing Patrika Romano from Bonehead Graphics and BHG Printing. How are you doing today, Patrika with a K?
Oh, it's an incredible day. I've looked forward to having this time with you this morning because my heart is just to share and enrich and empower others. So this is
That,
great. Thank you.
that's beautiful. I'm so excited about this. Okay, so first of all, tell me, I was on your website and I'm looking at how you got into business, and it seems like you just kind of fell into it, but I'd love to hear the story.
Well, I did fall into it. I actually, it was in banking back in the day. I was a bank teller and then advanced to a new account rep and then moved into the premier division and had a book of business. But my husband was working for Lexus at the time, and they all had nicknames for one another. And he was always called Bonehead. And he said, if I ever own my own business, I'm going to call it Bonehead Graphics. Well, so when Bonehead Graphics was birthed, it was birthed from the fact that he was a part of an RC control airplane group,
Oh, yeah.
and they all wanted shirts. So he went on the hunt to find someone to print t-shirts for their club, only to realize I can do this myself. So Bonehead Graphics was born out of the garage, and we absolutely loved the name Bonehead Graphics because it played off to obviously his nickname, and it's a lot of fun. We started in the garage, and here we are, 30 years. 2025 will be 30 years for us.
That's amazing. 30 years in business. That's so cool. So, what was your, and you and your husband work in the business together and own the business together and run it together?
Yes.
Tell me about that. What's that like?
Well, it's actually it's amazing. We've been together 36 years, and uh, we have a really great arrangement where business stays at work,
Oh,
and when
good.
we're at home, home stays at home. And the other point that he likes to play with is I'm in the office managing all of the sales and the service, and he's out in production. So we're not sitting side by side all day long together either. So that helps in that dynamic. But yes, he's actually slowly pulling back because he's been at it for 30 years. So we are actually evolved. We became a woman business owned a few years ago. So we have that WBEA certification, and he continues to work out in the production, and I continue to work in the office and manage sales and service and working on the business more and more.
I love it. More strategy. So,
Yes, definitely.
does he introduce you as his wife or his boss?
Oh, he usually says the boss lady. That's my nickname around here. And yeah, he usually does say the boss lady.
That is fabulous. I love it. So
Yeah.
tell me about working on the business versus working in the business. I hear a lot of people say that, and obviously, as a coaching firm, that's one of the things that we really emphasize. But how do you make that transition and make sure you're working on the business? Because that's really
Well, I'm
important.
going to speak to myself because everyone has different experiences. But for me, I joined the firm in January of 2003. That's when I went full time. I
Right.
was working nights and weekends prior to that because I was in banking at the time. Um, but we were reacting to what was coming at us, and we started with just screen printing. And we evolved into in-house vehicle wraps, and then we evolved into offering promotional items to our clients, along with all of the offset printing, the business cards, the brochures, the flyers, etc. And um, forgive me, we're gonna have to pause here. I went blank on the
You're
question.
good. You're good.
My brain,
I'll repeat it. No,
I am so sorry, but my
Oh,
brain.
you're good. You're thinking about history. Okay, so here it is again. So you mentioned we were talking about working on the business versus working in the business.
Thank you. On, not in.
And that's a really, like, for coaches, it's something we talk about a lot and really emphasize
Yes.
um, for our clients for obvious reasons, because that's super important. But how do you make sure that you're spending time, or how do you get yourself time to work on the business? How do you know
So now I know where to pick up at. So you'll have to do some edits. That's all good. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. So when you're working for us, we were reacting so much to what was coming at us, taking care of the client, getting things quoted, getting things produced, and just taking care of whatever was coming at us. And then COVID hit. And COVID was genuinely, truly, and I'm going to speak for myself, a pivotal point in the road for me. I was 52 at the time, and I said to myself, where are you going to be when you're 60?
Oh.
Just taking care of what's coming at you. You're working in it. You're not really working on it. And the difference is in it, and we did it for the first, 20 plus years, you're just taking care of the client and fulfilling the order. Working on it means you're working on strategizing your marketing, getting all of your financial tools in place, surrounding yourself with advisors and counselors that are excellent at what they do. Yourself as an action coach. We were doing so much on our own and not asking for help. So when COVID hit, and it was a life altering thing for a lot of people, of course, across the whole globe, but it really helped me to stop and look at, who are you, what do you want, and where are you going? And it took me some time to really ask some tough questions. And part of that was, what makes me smile? What makes me leap on the inside? Because sometimes a lot of us just get stuck in ruts and we're just doing what we do because it's the easy way. We've already been doing it. Why try something new? A lot of people can speak to that. But I absolutely enjoy entrepreneurship. I enjoy working for myself. I enjoy being able to create the culture, the team, the atmosphere, the environment for my staff, for our clients, and being able to empower and lead and educate others. It's just a part of who I am. So I obviously ultimately said, we're staying, we're not shutting down, because we did consider that. It was a perfect time that we could have. But we really started strategizing. We actually hired a traction coach in 2020. A gal was with us for a year. It helped us to get a scorecard created. What are our key performance indicators? And we really started tracking so that we could measure across all of the product that we produce and really start telling a story. We had to clean up our financial books. We had to get a CPA that could help get that solidified, get it all back on track. And so to this day, we have tools that tell a story. Our financials let us know where we're at. And it was just working on the business takes purposefulness. It takes intention. And of course, tenacity, because you still are in it. But you have to say, I'm not going to keep repeating this same old pattern that I've been living for all these years, because I'm not getting any younger. And let me tell you, for the young folks out there, life goes by very quickly. If you haven't heard this saying before, the years are short, but the days can be long. So I just really encourage, if this speaks to you, make a decision today to start working on your business, be intentional, be focused, and start gaining traction so that you can be happy with the results, be fulfilled with what you're doing, and not just feel like, at the end of the day, I feel so defeated. I'm not making any progress because I'm too busy reacting. No more. May this be an encouragement for you to be able to start gaining traction like we have for the last, it's going to be 5 years in March next year.
So that's awesome. There's so much there. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
It's the idea of even knowing where you're going to go, whether that's you as a business or a husband and wife or a team of partners, agreeing on what success looks like.
Right.
And it means business success, but the business is really a driver to what we want to achieve personally or with charity or with all the other things. That's really what the thing is for, right?
That's right. That's right.
So I love that you captured that, because when you sit down and figure it out and think about it, it provokes a lot of different thoughts. And we know as people in our 50s that we're not going to do this for the rest of our lives. But even if
Right.
you're in your 30s, what do you want? Where do you want to be?
Exactly right. I mean, it's what are those goals? And you
Yeah.
really have to break it down. You hear people say, what are your 5-year goals, your 3-year goals, your 1-year goal? And even for me to this day, what is it that I want to accomplish over the next 5 years? And then you have to break that down to where what do you want to achieve? Like for 2025, what is it that I want to achieve by the end of the year 2025? So I can say, atta girl, you did it. And you're one step closer to your end result of whatever that looks like. People will also say, keep the end in sight. What do you want the end to look like? Let that be the first thing. Let that be your driver. And then you've got to surround yourself, as I mentioned before, with people that have the skill set and the wherewithal to help guide you on those fronts. Because I'm great at what I do, but I'm not a coach per se. I'm not a Warren. You bring a skill set to the table that I don't. So to be able to leverage other people's skills that marry with mine, it's truly a beautiful synergy that will gain traction and help me get to the end result. And it can for you too.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think there's a matter of perspective from the outside, some systems and processes that maybe some of our business owners haven't thought of. A lot of those actually come from corporate environment, because you realize these big businesses actually do some things right, like hiring processes and
Yes.
accountability and KPAs and KPIs and all those goals and budgeting and all that kind of stuff is really powerful. But then having somebody that can be kind of your accountability partner, keep on track, is a big piece of it, right?
It's a huge piece of it. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's having that accountability, having someone, whether that is a business partner or your significant other, a family member, a friend, whomever it is that you're willing to truly receive that raw, real feedback to help you stay motivated, because life's, things happen. You don't know what the next day brings. And yet business still continues. The world keeps turning. So yes, you do have to have that accountability, someone that can help hold you accountable, and even for yourself. And if you need to write it down, if whatever works for you to keep yourself accountable, that checklist, what did I get done today? I had these 3 things I wanted to get done. What did I get done? Okay, why did I get those things done? What can I do better tomorrow? Because now I got to make up for today, let alone tomorrow. And you just and give yourself a break, because give yourself grace, because stuff does happen, but you don't want to overwhelm yourself with unrealistic goals, right? You need to make sure that they are SMART, the acronym, specific and measurable and attainable and realistic on a timetable.
Yeah, that's great. I love SMART goals. And I think, one of the things that we even break it down, it's like, okay, what do we want to get done this quarter? We're going to pick the top 6 things, but you can only schedule 3 of these things per week. So you got to matrix it out. So that way
that's good.
Because we're all busy and we can't, you're right. You don't want to overload yourself with so much that you just feel overwhelmed, because then nothing gets done.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because some people, there's that in the, what's the word I'm looking for? And I'm just going to say therapy. I actually sought out a life coach / therapy coach, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, sure.
It helped me to really center my thoughts, my emotions. What triggers will trigger me? What are the different things that trigger me to either freeze, flee, or fight? And different things will affect me, whether I just leave the room because my brain can't take it. I have to go, or I just freeze and I don't know what to say.
Mm.
You
Mhm.
know, that's those a life coach is important from the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, because it's just as important, Warren, as having a business coach that can help you with forecasting and budgeting and making sure your financials are in order, and like you said, the 6 things that you want to get done this quarter, and be able
Yeah,
to break it down by month, by week. Having that life coach can help balance you as well.
that's
That's
awesome.
me.
Okay, so I also wanted to touch on this because I think it's brilliant what you said. You were mentioning what do you when you get perspective and you think about what you really love to do, which is super important, right? Because the stuff you love to do, you can keep doing a lot of that stuff, but the stuff you don't love to do and sucks all your energy, you should delegate that stuff first if it can be delegated and it's not
Yes,
expensive. Correct?
definitely. Yeah, so I'll speak to that.
Please.
All right. I will tell you, for me, administration, I can do it, but it is not something that I love to do. Administration is big. I mean, I have delegated. I have learned to let go and let the other person that is actually better and stronger at it, and a lot faster at it too.
Yes.
Genuinely. And it is so freeing for me to be able to let go on that piece that I'm not strong at and let someone else do it. So, yes, delegating is critical. Some people will say, I'll just do it myself. It'll get done. Well, it might get done, but it'll take you 5 times as long. And then all of a sudden you look up out of the weeds that you've been in and realize, I still haven't managed to get that done. So yes, delegate. So I delegate on the administration. I delegate on the bookkeeping. I delegate with a sales coach and a life coach. I get help in those areas, and it has really actually empowered me and restored me and has given me a motivation
Mm.
to continue to forge forward, because I'm not carrying all the weights that I carried for so long. Because I'm telling you, prior to COVID, pre-COVID, I would look up at the end of every year and go, well, we didn't hit that goal. Maybe next year.
Mm.
Well, we didn't get where I was hoping to get to, but hopefully next year will look better. And I'll be raw and real because that's who I am. It didn't. But yet I kept going. Why do I keep going? And a lot of us entrepreneurs keep going because we believe in ourselves. We believe in what we're doing, because I do. I believe in our company. I believe in who we are and what we offer and the difference that it makes in the lives of those that choose to invest in branding their companies and the stories that it tells as well. But yeah, I hope this is helping someone.
No, it's wonderful. So tell me, this is one of the things that businesses really struggle with, and it's a tough one because you've got to decide at a certain point to let go of some of these duties and trust someone to
That's
do
right.
them.
That's right.
And then you have to invest money in the person to do the things too. And I don't care whether that's if you're going from a 1 to a 2 person or a 2 to a 5 or whatever, there's a point of risk where you're going to, in fact, make less profit for a period of time. So how do you know when to do that?
Well, I will say that's a phenomenal question. And for so many years, I was too afraid. I was too fearful to invest.
Mhm.
So we did it. We did not. Everything that I'm sharing with you right now is because I lived it and I walked it. And then it took a life-changing episode to happen for me to finally wake up and say, you've been trying to do this on your own all these years, Patrika, and where has it gotten you?
Mm.
So I was holding so tight onto the dollars that I had. I wouldn't open my hand. And when you don't open your hand in order to ask for help, how can you receive when your hand is closed and you're holding on so tight to the few dollars you have, when if you would just open your hands, trust in the process, do your due diligence though, because I will say, you want to be diligent in that. You need to have some basic understanding about what you're doing. But when I opened my hand and made a decision, and I literally did, it was post-COVID, but I made the decision, it's time to start canceling out fear. It's time to conquer that fear, and it's time to start asking for help, ask the right questions, vet the right people, and spend some dollars. Now, for some of us, and for me, I had to borrow to make that happen. As long as it's in balance, that's okay. Because we don't want to be on opposite extremes. I was on one extreme where I was holding on too tight that I wasn't getting anywhere. Some might say, well, I'll just go all in and buy all the equipment and get all these things in place and hope the business will come. No, 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 no. We have to find that word balance again. You have to find that balance. But I started researching, I started reading, I started asking questions, and I opened my hand. I started investing, and that's where that traction coach came in. And you will be so pleasantly surprised how the business will naturally come to make that payment for you. Because for me, I was afraid, so I didn't think the business would come. So I held on, only to find out that I opened my hand and the business was coming in, and it was helping to make those payments that I, for the monies that I had to borrow. And then you do it in stages. Like I said, don't go all in at one time. Be strategic. Take those steps, invest, and then earn, and then invest, and then earn, so that you can make payments along the way. And for us, we were able to see a complete 360 with our finances. We were able to have money in a savings account for the first time. It was incredible. And to this day, I'm making changes as we speak. And there's a lot of money going out, but I know that I know, because the fear doesn't hold me back anymore. It's that natural reciprocity, I believe is the right word to use. When you give, you receive. When you give, you receive. And it happens supernaturally. So I encourage you, do it now. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let the unknown hold you back. Step out in faith, have trust, and I promise you, you will receive that natural reciprocity. Boy, I hope I'm saying that word right.
That was good. No, that's beautiful. All right. So you say you love working with your team and building team. And so what's your culture?
Oh, I want people to be better than me. I want them to be empowered to be who they are and to bring their skills and their natural talents to the table. That it's not all about what Patrika wants. There's not an I in team, it's a we. So the culture that I've built over the last going on 30 years is a culture of honesty, integrity, respect. We don't cut corners. Don't cut corners. With yourself, with your staff, with your customers. Don't hide things. It is what it is. Be honest, be transparent. It is amazing the loyalty of the clients that we have had with us for, some of them, almost 30 years. They've been with us from the beginning, literally. That it's a part of just who we are in that culture that we've built. And our team, it's embedded in them. They know what I expect. They know what I want for our clients. They know that our name is on everything that leaves this door, not just product, but with every phone call, with every email. And even if we don't get your business, we want to do what we can to educate you and to empower you to make good decisions. And if that means you take your business somewhere else, well, then so be it. It's still rewarding for us. That culture is absolutely critical, and I will not let anybody come in here and bring cancer to my team. So if I don't make a great hire and this person doesn't fit that model and fit that culture, it's time for them to go, because there's a lot of other teams out there that I have a culture that we have built that I'm very proud of. It's who I am as an individual, and it's who we are as a team and as a company, and nobody's going to mess with that.
I love that. I can tell this is the real deal here.
It's
Like,
the real deal. I'm
this
very
is the deal
passionate
buster,
about
right?
that.
Yeah, this is the
very
deal
passionate.
buster. Yeah, I
It's a
love
deal
it.
buster.
So how do you, what do you look for when you're hiring? I mean, I know what you look for, obviously, but how do you discern somebody that's going to have trust and integrity and follow through and treat customers and fellow workers the right way? What do you do?
When I try so hard to do right. The questions that you ask is critical. It's not about the resume. It is, but it's not. It's about the person, making sure that that person has the personality. The questions that you ask in that interview will help discover what those attributes are, what their character is, what their values are. So be strategic in the questions that you ask. I always let my interviewee know this is a conversation. It's not just about me wanting a good fit, but I want to be a good fit for you too, because there's lots of teams out there. Am I the right team? Because we truly are. I mean, I don't care how big your company is. How's that saying? You're a home away from home, because you're at work more than you are at home. So it's important to be in a culture that fits your style, that fits who you are and what you believe in. And when you're hiring, you've got to ask the right questions to uncover that. And I've made it more of a conversation. And then, of course, I go to the resume to see if they have the skills.
Sure.
And a lot of some of the stuff I can train you as we go. But if you don't have the culture and the personality and the values, then it's a deal killer. It's a deal buster, as you said a minute ago. So at the end of the day, it's about the questions you ask.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Like, I can train you to do a task or a skill, as long as you're intellectually capable and this other stuff, these soft skills and their beliefs and convictions about doing the right thing all the time are the most important.
Exactly. Bingo.
Okay, so I want to talk. We talked a little bit beforehand about branding, and you made a little switch in your, maybe not little, you made a switch in who your target market was and who you're going after. Can you talk about your kind of strategy behind that, and then how you went out implementing that?
Yes, I can, Warren. We started as Bonehead Graphics, as I mentioned, back in 1995, and we had a lot of fun with the company name. We had a client base that was built with the sports industry.
Okay.
In all honesty, we had a little bit of school business, a little bit of small business clients, and I had gone through, I applied for, and to this day, I'm going to plug this in real quick. Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses is a program that's available to you as a business owner that is absolutely financially, there's no cost to you financially. It is an incredible program, 4-month program that will help you to take a good hard look at your business. They bring a lot of knowledge to the table to help set you up for success going forward. So when I went through the program several years ago, part of my journey included, I wanted to elevate the perceived value of what we as a company can bring to the table. So through a lot of conversations, talking with the advisors within the 10,000 Small Business program with Goldman Sachs, having changing our name to, or doing a DBA, doing business as BHG Printing for Success, was truly a pivotal shift in our client base, to where our client base to this day is primarily made up of trade businesses, education, nonprofit, and organizations. And now this year, we are really engaging in the franchise industry as well. So that's where the BHG Printing for Success came in, was from that program, and really looking to how do we scale, elevate, and change the perceived value of what we brought to the table. So it's been a winner for sure.
Nice. It seems in today's world, it seems sort of counterintuitive, because a lot of people talk about niche and going after a particular niche, and you, it seems like, went broader to broaden your customer base.
I did. And all transparency, sports, it was fun, but it wasn't my passion.
No.
And as a business owner, I needed to follow the passions that I was that drive me. We've talked about that already. And so working with the trade businesses, the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical, the construction, for me, it brought so much more to the table. I was able to work with them with all of their branding of the apparel, the promotionals, and the vehicle wraps. They needed everything that we had to offer and do offer. And to be a part of their journey, we have so many clients that, they started at the garage. They had one vehicle and they got their tool bag and they went to work. And here we are 10, 15, 20 years later, some even into 30, that we've been a part of that journey, seeing their company scale and grow to fleet graphics, to, larger staff members. And it's just been so very rewarding. And now that we're at 30 years in 2025, we continue with education and nonprofits and the organizations, but I really am looking to scale even more in the trade industry space. And I've also started growing within the franchise industry as well. So those are two targeted areas that I'm really focusing on to scale, literally going forward.
I love it. And I, personally, I love working with trades too. These are folks that know how to do a day's work.
Yes, they do.
They appreciate it. They know what they know, and they're not afraid to get some advisor help on the other side and the stuff they don't know. And they're not afraid to invest money either to grow their business, because they can see it. And I wish we had more. I mean, we need more people going to school for trades.
Well, we definitely do. And I couldn't agree more. We need more of that.
Do you, so let me ask you this. What about the biggest, I have two other things I want to cover.
Okay.
Number one, give me one of your biggest challenges you've overcome as a business, and what you learned from it. How'd you do it?
Okay. This one, I'm in full transparency again, because that's just who I am. There was there was a season, that's the word I'm looking for. There was a season many years ago where our company was struggling, and I knew we needed help. And we had the lease space, we had the staffing, but the sales weren't coming in. So in walks this sales rep and starts talking literally to my pain points. And that conversation, my emotions were leading my decisions. And I jumped in without consulting my husband, Peter. Without sharing with him either. I didn't consult. I didn't tell him. I handed them that $800 check to get signed up. And then they come in with their full force, starting to, map all of these things out to help our company. Needless to say, Peter's on the bandwagon now, and he starts doing research, and he starts looking at who are these people. And there were too many red flags that spoke to dishonesty and not steering companies very well. Through their daily rate, or I should say their hourly rate, was adding up very quickly. And we were, maybe a month in. I'm trying to remember because this has been quite a while. But we needed to ask a real tough question based on the facts that we had in front of us, based on what it was going to potentially cost us. It could have been as much as $50,000.
Wow.
And we were already $15,000 in. And Peter was like, way too many red flags, Patrika. We need to figure out what's going on here. So we approached our pastors, and they're business owners as well. You know, they run their own ministry, but then they also have their own businesses on the side. And he asked a key question. And again, I sought an advisor. We've talked about that. And he says, can you afford to lose $50,000? Worst case scenario, can you afford to lose $50,000? Because that would be worst case. And we said no. And he goes, cut the cord, cut it now, cut your losses, and move on. So we did. We cut the cord, we cut our losses, we settled with them because there was a signed contract that Peter knew nothing about. And we settled on that. It cost our company $15,000, but it didn't take us out. And through that experience, needless to say, I don't make decisions anymore without consulting my business partner, without consulting advisors. And I have learned, as I've shared before, to keep my emotions intact, because we don't make life-changing decisions when your emotions are high. Don't hide from someone, because when you're hiding something, that usually indicates something bad is going on here. So be honest with yourself. As I learned from that scenario, to be honest with myself, understand my triggers, don't let my emotions lead me, consult my husband, my business partner, and consult advisors. And to this day, the decisions, I'll never repeat that again. It was that, we can cry over spilt milk, but boy, do we learn valuable lessons when we don't make great choices.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome.
I'll tell you, I can say on myself, I've bought into things that I thought were probably too good to be true, and they weren't. The stupid tax, and then emotional, when emotions are high, thinking is low, and
right.
So I really appreciate that. That's a great piece of wisdom. I would also say there's one other nugget there that I caught, and that is sometimes you just got to cut your losses and say, I screwed up and eat it, right? Because that's better than throwing good money after bad.
I couldn't have said it better. That was incredible. And that is extremely true.
Yeah. And you have these great advisors. So I love that all. Okay. So you mentioned books. So you're a writer.
Yes, we all have a story to tell, everyone. And there's so many people. I have so learned, I wish I could write a book. Oh, I wish I would write a book. Let me tell you, you can write a book. You are literally telling your story. It's like, as just this interview alone, I'm telling you, I'm sharing with you my story. And we all have golden nuggets that we can share. So yes, pre-COVID, I sat down and I'm very passionate about people being true to who they are. We are each uniquely and wonderfully made. No two of us are like, even when you're a twin, and I happen to be an identical twin, we're a lot alike, but we're so different because we're each uniquely and wonderfully made. And so I wrote a book that says, Free to Be Me. And my daughter-in-law did all of the illustrations, all of the graphics. Absolutely beautiful, very simple, but it speaks to who you are as an individual, how unique you are, regardless of our backgrounds, because we're all from different walks of life. We all are different ethnic backgrounds as well. But at the end of the day, you're special. So I wrote that book, Free to Be Me, and then I wrote another one, It's My Birthday. Just yet another way of saying when we celebrate our birthdays, we're celebrating ourselves because we bring value to the table. We bring such an enrichment to the lives of those around us. So that is, oh, that's such a deep, deep rooted passion of mine. And then through my sales coach, I collaborated with other small business owners in a book that's called The Road to Entrepreneurship. It starts with why. A lot of the things that we've talked about today are in my portion of the book. Those, I mean, entrepreneurship and free to be who you are as an individual, that's what makes me tick.
I have a feeling you're going to be doing a lot more.
And I was just about to say, there's more coming. There's more coming. I look forward to that. So that's one of my goals, because it takes time to write a book. It takes time. So again, creating those SMART goals to when that next book is coming. What am I going to elaborate on? And let me tell you, books don't have to be a novel. Please know that, my friends. Books don't have to be a novel. They can be 100 pages. They can be 200, 500, 1,000. Just tell your story, because it will bless someone else. I promise you. So write your book.
That's awesome. That's perfect. Okay, so thank you so much. I congratulations on 30 years with some, depending on how long you want to do this and when you hand it off. And also congratulations on, I can tell you have a good culture. You have a good group of clients. You've clearly taken care of them. That's why you've had them for literally decades.
Yep.
And that's life-changing stuff. Like that's really is that's gratifying for you, but it literally changes the world. And if we as local businesses can continue to do right, continue to grow and hire the right people and help them achieve their goals, life is good and the world is a better place.
I agree. So I just want to throw one more nugget. If there's anyone out there that would like to connect, let's just have a conversation. Let's just talk. You can bless me. We can help each other, even if we're just brainstorming over something, going over an issue or a situation. I just want you to know that I'm here for you, and I'm literally a phone call, an email, a click away. So that I'm opening my hand.
Wow, thank you. That's perfect. You have your hands open. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Warren.
Appreciate your wisdom.
All right, yes, you too. Thanks. Bye.